Hello and thank you for purchasing one of our cabinets. Today we're going to show you the assembly of the lower cabinet with doors from Viper 2 Storage. First, lay all your parts and familiarize yourself with them. Then we're going to begin by attaching the hinges to our doors, which are parts PP and QQ. Take one of the hinges, flip the lock open, line it up with the holes, press it in place and lock it in. Repeat for the other three hinges. And now your doors are ready to be put aside for the final assembly. The second step in the assembly process will be to fasten your hinge plates to parts AA and BB. Your hinge plates line up in the two 5mm holes on the top and the bottom of the cabinet, with the oval slot facing outwards and the open slot facing towards the back of the cabinet. Position your hinge plates and hand tighten them with a screwdriver, making sure not to over tighten. Repeat the process for the remaining three hinge plates. Okay, now we are ready to begin assembling the box of the cabinet itself. Begin by picking part B1, lining up the two metal pins with the 8mm holes, making sure that the finish end is facing toward the outside of the cabinet. Press it in place until the two parts come together. The next step is pick up part LL, which is the bottom of a cabinet with the feet blocks facing outside of the cabinet and the three holes facing toward the back of the cabinet inside. Line up the three green pins, push them down and slide slightly forward just so the part stays in place. Take part KK, which is the top of your cabinet. Make sure the three holes are facing toward the inside. Line up the three oval slots. Slide them in very slightly so the part remains in place. Take part UU, that is the back of your cabinet. Line up the three metal pins to be facing toward the feed plate. Line them up with the three oval slots. Lock them in place and slide them slightly forward. Take part BB, put it on top of your assembly and line up the two 8mm holes with the metal pins. Tap them slightly in place. Align the green grooves, the green lock slots with the oval grooves on the remaining parts. And tap them in place. If you feel resistance, feel free to use the hammering block H on the metal pin location, and you can tap that in place until the two parts come together. Hold part AA and BB until the assembly back on part UU, and press the bottom part LL in place. Make sure that the two sides are aligned. Lift the cabinet on part LL. And press part UU down. Make sure that the metal pins are lined up with the three holes. If you need help, use the hammering block to tap them in place. Once you push part UU below the surface of the top, flip it back on its bottom, on its back, and then press part KK in place. Make sure that they're aligned. Now we are able to rotate our cabinet and attach our feet. To attach the feet, there are 2 slots in here that line up with the 2 extensions on the foot. Push it in and then twist it. Repeat for all 4. And now we are ready to install our drawer and our doors. And now we are ready to begin assembling our drawer boxes. First, lay part A on a flat, clean surface, making sure that the cutout grooves are facing upwards. Pick up part A2. Make sure that the opening of the slide is facing away from the drawer front. Line it up so it's facing away from it, and slide it in place. Sure that the grooves are aligned together. Repeat the same process for part A3. The opening of the slide needs to be facing away from the drawer. Lock it in place and slide it forward. Pick up part B2, which is your bottom, and slide it in place, making sure that the finish end is toward the inside of your box. Line it up and press it until it becomes flush on both sides. Once your drawer bottom is locked in, pick up part A4 and line it up with the 2 green clips on the side. Push it in place, rotate your assembly, and push it down until it becomes flush. Rotate your assembly again on its back and take the 2 green metal clips, insert them into the openings on the back of your drawer and below the bottom, and then slide them to lock in place. To insert your drawer in the cabinet box, make sure you slide the ball bearings forward and the slide all the way back. Repeat the same on both sides. Line up your drawer box rails on both sides and slide them in place until you hear a click. You feel slight resistance, push through it, and your box should be locked in place. To install your doors on your cabinet, make sure that the handle holes are facing upwards. Line them up with the hinge plates and lock in place by putting pressure against the cabinet. Repeat the same on the other door. Make sure that the handle holes are facing up. Line up the hinges with the hinge plates and lock them in place. To install the handles, unpack them with the provided bolts. Line up the bolts through the holes, and you can begin by hand tightening it until it catches a little bit. Do the same on the opposite side and use a hand screwdriver to tighten them in.
To see more great products from Viper Tool Storage, log on to vipertoolstorage.com.